We have left 3.
Hello,
One. Hey,
welcome
y'all.
back to Push Car Gaming.
Hey, y'all, welcome back.
Finest channel on YouTube.
The finest on YouTube
The
that
finest and the
nobody
funny.
knows of.
That's true, but you.
It's one of the best channels
It's
that
the best
nobody knows of.
around.
That nobody's
Nobody else
heard
is gonna
of.
bring me down. It's the best. Hey, hey-oh.
Question.
Answer.
I know the answer already.
Question? Yes? No? Yes?
Let's
Yes.
hear.
What social stigma does society need to get over? Censorship of boobies. Right there. Told you I knew the answer.
That's a good. That's true. They do need to get over that.
Europe,
Social stigma.
They already got over that in most of the other countries in the world.
Yeah.
I think how PC everything.
It's America.
Everything is today.
It's
is
America
just
for you.
kind of annoying.
Yeah. Oh man, so when I was in Mexico, we went on some excursions and like we had to go through like we had to take a bus for it was like a 2-hour ride, and so we were going through these small villages and like you want to talk about like shacks, like this room is their house.
Oh, dang.
And yeah, it was like that all over, and it was just crazy. Like you see these small villages, and I mean, that's how they live. They just
They got
that's
you.
how they live. They live in shacks.
Well, yeah, dude. If you're used to that, then that's that's what you're used to.
Dude, in
and,
Europe, they all pretty much live in apartment buildings that are, you know how big apartment buildings are.
Sure,
It's like how everybody lives over there.
but
When we went over there, our cousins had, in Germany, our cousins had like a couch that you lifted the cushions up and there was like tons of space in the couch because that's how you had to live. You had to find ways to store stuff in your small space.
PPP.
If you were totally used to it and didn't know of any other way of living,
Sure.
you wouldn't
You wouldn't know
miss
anything.
it. You wouldn't know anything.
But like, there was one decent sized house that we saw. A couple of decent sized houses, but this one was like the size of one of our houses. You know.
well, like you know, if you have to be a millionaire to own a house in Europe, essentially. Well, Germany.
One of these, I'm sure one of these houses does not cost very much.
Can I talk to you for a second
Well,
about
I mean,
it?
you think about it, like
Where are you talking about, Chad?
Mexico.
What is
Well,
it?
If you know anything about
What is
Mexico,
it?
like
Ask her if she's a girl.
the rest
Let
of the
her
entire
go.
country outside of the hot spots,
It'll be
tourist
quick.
spots
That's
are
not true.
Ooh, a quickie.
pretty much trash.
Dude,
That's
she
not
wants a
true at
quickie
all.
from
Yeah.
No,
Have you ever Google Earthed it?
the
Google Earth Mexico, dude. Look around their cities.
Mexico is like turned into like a second class or like
It's still pretty
second,
bad.
It's not a third
Second world
anymore.
country?
It's a second world country now. Like
I also work with a
The-
woman that did a missionary trip there, and she
Yeah,
did not
but
have anything good
it's
to
a
say
lot's
about it.
changed. Like there's they've developed a lot more.
Dude, you saw Cancun. That's like the vacation Americanized area of
no.
Mexico.
What are you talking about, though, Jay?
When
went-
we go inland,
You
like
go
we
to
took
Mexico
a bus
City?
inland. When we took a bus inland, like you can see, like all of the different, like the rural areas, basically. Like
How far into Mexico? Mexico's huge.
that's true too. But like it was like 2 hours in.
That's really not that far, though.
It's still like, but then I started doing research while I was down there, and there's cities to where it's like, okay, well, basically, it's a lot cheaper to live in Mexico than it is to live in the U.S. just because everything is cost of living down there is greatly reduced.
She seemed to know I'd...
True, but you gotta think about it like this. Mexico doesn't have a middle class. Plus, they don't exactly have
Drug
good
lords?
living
They have
situ-
lots of drug lords. Okay.
It's still not a good place
They do
to
have
live,
the cartel, but actually, like, so the government doesn't pay. In certain cities, they pay the police more, like they do in here, like Chicago and blah blah. In those cities where they pay them more, there's barely any corruption within the police. In Cancun, the police are very corrupt because they get paid like nothing.
Man. Really?
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense because, like, that's a place you want everybody to visit. So why would you let the police
Right.
be corrupt, basically? Which
Depends on
leads into
who's-
my next story
Okay.
about how I almost got arrested in
Alright.
Cancun.
In Cancun?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
What-
so
Oh, that wouldn't have been good at all.
No. So we were leaving the club. It was like Wednesday night. And me and Jessica went to McDonald's because their McDonald's is fucking amazing. Like, I mean, it's like, you think that our McDonald's is good? This is like a 5-star restaurant, like McDonald's. Like, anyway, so we get done with McDonald's and like we go outside, we're walking to the bus stop. And there's taxi drivers, and usually the taxi drivers are aggressive. They're like, oh, taxi, 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 taxi. And we're always like, no, no, thank you. But this time, the taxi driver was more aggressive than normal. Like, he was like, oh, taxi, taxi, come here, taxi, taxi. And I said, no, thank you, just going to go to the bus. And all of a sudden, I get swarmed by fucking cops.
And then what?
For no reason. And I'm like, what's the problem? And they're like, oh, we saw you using drugs. And they point to their nose. They're like, oh, I saw you using drugs. I was like, no drugs, no drugs. No drugs were had here. And they're like, oh, no, you need to come over here. And I was like, I threw my arms up. I'm like, whoa, whoa, let's back the truck up. Like, no drugs. They're like, oh, just come over here.
They might not even been real cops, dude.
No,
that
they
sounds
were.
Suspicious.
They were. No, that's how they are, dude. Like, that's how it is down there. They're trying to fish to get more money because they get paid shit. So they're so corrupt that they have to bother tourists and extort tourists to give them money because they, like, anyway, so I'll continue my story. So they pull me over to the side, and they're like, oh, we saw you using drugs. I'm like, no drugs, no drugs, no drugs. Just going to the hotel. Had some McDonald's. Going to the hotel now. Lots of cerveza, because I was pretty drunk, you know. So, and they keep checking my pockets. Well, I didn't bring my wallet. All I did was brought my ID and some money, enough money to get me there and home, and like not a lot of cash.
Right.
Well, so they kept checking my pockets, and they didn't feel anything. And they're like, "Oh, we know, we saw you. And I was like, "Oh no, no drugs."
Why are they pointing at their nose?
Because cocaine.
Oh, okay.
So
they were just straight up lying?
yeah, they're trying to get
So how
me
did
to
that
be
end?
like. So basically, like they kept questioning me for like 20 minutes, kept checking my pockets. I always checked my pockets afterward to make sure I still had the money in there because I knew exactly how much I had. So eventually, I'm like, okay, look, I did no drugs. I'm trying to get back to the hotel, and like Jessica's like screaming at him, like, what are you? This is bullshit, blah blah. I'm like, just settle down. And I'm like, listen, I haven't done any drugs, no drugs, like. And so they just kept searching me, and finally they're like, okay, you can go. And I'm like, that's right, because I don't have any money. You can't extort me and be like, we're going to take you to prison because
they're just trying to, like, blackmail
they're trying to get,
you or
they're trying to
something?
get money out of me.
Just give them cash?
Yeah.
They could have planted drugs on him and then said he had to pay a fee to get away.
Sure.
Yeah. It's, out of country shit, like, is scary to me. Like, if someone's, like, preying on you, you know, it's like...
Predating, predatory.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So last
they're
year,
out there, man.
Shannon, he was waiting for the bus and he had to pee. So he peed in the bushes, and the cops came up and were like, that's illegal. We're going to take you in unless you, give us money.
Give us money? Wow.
He basically had to give him $100 so he wouldn't go to jail.
Jesus, they probably do that kind of shit all the
You should
time.
have just
too.
pissed your pants if so you can avoid that kind of trouble.
Right.
There's a travel to Mexico tip. Just pee your pants.
It's
It comes
just,
down to it. Just pee them.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, the fact that they want people to go there, like, they should pay their police officers more because, like, that would cut down the corruption greatly.
It's a theory.
No, it's a fact. Like, they've done studies on it. So, like, different parts of Mexico,
Unless the
like,
drug dealers would pay them more.
the different cities like
They should
Tijuana.
just legalize-
Tijuana, the police officers make a really good wage, and there's like barely any corruption there between the police
They
officers.
should just decriminalize drugs altogether in Mexico and then see what happens to all the drug dealers.
Right.
No way I'm gonna give in like that. Can you think of
It would just become a business, though. Like, you know.
Well, look at Portugal, though. Crime rate dropped by like 98% when they decriminalized all drugs in 2001.
Oh, that'd be fine if we could do it without
Like
getting
98%. That's what the statistics said, anyway.
Well, you got
Because drugs are pretty much the pinnacle for most crime, almost all crime.
like Puerto Rico. No, not Puerto Rico. Colombia, when they like got rid of all the big crime lords and everything, like it like crumpled the whole cartel and everything. So now, like, and yes, cartel does greatly, like, their influence is in Cancun, and like they have the military in Cancun, like, so you can't. They're trying to keep it all out because that's their tourist area. They don't want anything to happen to their tourist area.
Right.
So
It brings in money.
yeah, exactly, because it's a linchpin for Mexico.
Wonder if you do that enough times, if he'll actually do it. You know, some games are like that.
Would you keep hitting the same one?
Yeah.
Think of that. Is there any meaning to?
I finally.
So yeah, that was fun.
Oh, it's Morgana.
Yeah,
She's a real
I
cat.
don't like dealing with stuff like that. It's just freaky, man, because you don't have a lot of power when you're not in this country.
Honestly, like,
It's a real cat.
they couldn't, like, unless they like planted something on me, like they couldn't do
Right,
anything
but they
to me.
could plant something on you.
True.
They could literally pull something out of their pocket in
Yeah.
front of you and say you had it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I am not.
It's just messed up.
But they don't want.
What happened was a lot of.
They
don't
don't.
want to deal with all the.
They don't want that.
They don't want it to go that far.
They don't want it to go that far. They're just trying to get
Get a
a
little bit
quick
extra
buck.
money.
They're
Right.
not trying to, like.
That aside,
They don't
Right.
want to take you to jail. They just want to get you to give them money.
Right.
So they won't take you to jail.
Yeah.
But if I like literally didn't have anything in my pockets other than my phone, or I didn't even have my phone. Like I just had money and ID, and that's it.
I would have pulled my pockets out so they were
You
hanging.
guys are having a rough time of this.
Did you hear what my response was?
Mm-mm.
I said meow. He goes,
said
"Are you
meow?
hearing this cat talking?" And I said meow.
God, that condescending attitude.
Oh my god, dude, you need to shut up.
Yeah,
His
smack him.
emotions are just way too hard for me.
But the police
Cop a
have been
hair
trying to
ball
crack
up
down
on his
because like
face.
last year there was like a shooting and it was cartel like related and everything.
Where
and,
at?
It was at some resort.
So rough with me.
Where's
But,
the other? There's a few resorts in Mexico, like Americanized type of places, right? Aside from
Oh, like a lot of them are Americanized. Most of them were Americanized, and now like they gotta after 30 years, the people
His
who
desires
developed,
would go to, I think. I don't know. They're
They're the
both
same
crappy
damn answer.
answers. Yeah, but they're both crappy.
yeah, I know.
once. So back when they were developing it, they brought in these, like hotel owners and stuff.
Right.
Well, a lot of it's Americanized because they were all timeshare. So like you buy in and you own it for 30 years, and then you got to sell it back to the Mexican government. That was the deal.
My question is
Or
like,
a Mexican owner.
I mean, you know, Cancun and those other resorts probably make money hand over fist. It's like, you know, I wonder how much of that money goes into the government at all, or you know, anything like that.
Yeah.
Or if it's all just privately owned. But then again, like I said, there's not really a middle class in Mexico.
It is. Those are like privately owned, like all the ones that initially, and then like once they sell it to like a Mexican company or whatever, then it transfers over. But I don't know how exactly that works.
We just go around secretly doing whatever we want.
But yeah,
I'll come back later.
God, I hate this guy. Sorry, Shed.
Man, we're getting all worked up.
it's fine.
They made him like the,
A complete annoying retard.
but they made
But
him.
we also got stranded. Like our
they
bus like
point-
blew a tire.
They
and we
put everything
really?
on
Yeah.
him.
We stopped in this little marketplace. It wasn't a market. It was like a square, and like it was like it was kind of a touristy square, so it wasn't bad. Like we were walking around and like a lot of wild dogs in Mexico.
No doubt. They probably don't really have good animal control.
But they're
there.
just chihuahuas. So.
Mm-mm.
Do they attack
It's a
people?
joke.
No, they're very docile and friendly.
I would
Like
think so.
they just want food.
Yeah.
It's like you get to play this guy who's cool, but then the other guy is the focal point of every
He's
action.
an idiot. He's a complete moron. He's annoying. Where do I have to go now?
I don't know. You're supposed to pay attention to the conversations. Isn't there oh yeah, 4,000 yen. Isn't there
I
objectives?
can fast travel. Well,
thing.
that's good.
Oh sweet.
Oh, great. I picked
Oh,
the
there
right
we go.
one.
Please give it a rest. Wait,
She's on the phone, huh?
Is that what you call her back?
Ooh.
Oh, is she talking to douchebag?
Yep.
Pink panties, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good, he hung up on her. She didn't need him. Now you gotta go comfort her. Oh, she seemed freaked out by you.
wait, were you?
I was eavesdropping.
Haven't you
heard of... No, I was out of...
She was out of line because you
Yeah,
were
she was.
eavesdropping.
Where's Kamashido? You need to slap this bitch.
How much did you hear? Ooh. Something about a friend.
Some of these responses are like...
Getting volleyballs to the face. Get
It's
the
not
balls to the
enough,
face.
man.
Being slapped
At
in the face
all.
with balls.
And then she runs off. See how pointless that conversation was? Totally useless. Do any of these...
All right.
Okay.
Well, thanks again for watching this episode of Push Core Gaming. We hope you enjoyed all the stories, and we will come back with more stories and funness in the next episode. Well, hopefully more funness. We need to fun it up. We need to get fun up in here.
Fundamental.
Fundamentally fun.
Fun and mental.
All right. Thanks again. Later.
Later.